The text came through at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I need some space to think about us. I stared at those 8 words on my phone screen, sitting in our living room with a half-empty beer going warm in my hand. The television flickered with some late-night show I wasn't watching. Outside, Portland rain hammered against the windows like it was trying to get in and warn me about something. 22 years. That's how long Jennifer and I had been married. 2 decades of building a life together, of mortgage payments and anniversary dinners and inside jokes that nobody else understood. Our daughter Emma was finishing her junior year at Oregon State. Our son Tyler worked as a graphic designer in Seattle. We'd made it through the hard years when money was tight and the kids were small and sleep was a luxury we couldn't afford. And now, she needed space. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I wanted to call her, to ask what the hell this meant, but something stopped me. Some instinct that told me I wouldn't like the answers. Okay, I typed back. How much space? The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I'm staying at a friend's place tonight. I'll call you tomorrow. A friend's place? Right. I took a long pull from the warm beer and set my phone face down on the coffee table. The house felt different suddenly, like the walls had shifted an inch while I wasn't looking. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt right. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in our bed, on my side like always, and stared at her empty pillow. At 3 a.m., I got up and walked through the house, room by room, like I was taking inventory of my own life. The kitchen, where we'd had breakfast that morning. The bathroom, where her toothbrush still sat in its holder. The garage, where both our cars were parked. No, wait. Her Lexus was gone. I stood in the garage in my boxers and undershirt, barefoot on the cold concrete, looking at the empty space where her car should have been. She must have taken it while I was in the shower before bed. Planned this, packed a bag, loaded the car, waited for the right moment to send that text. The planning bothered me more than the leaving. Wednesday morning came with gray light and more rain. I called in sick to the engineering firm where I'd worked for 18 years. My boss, Paul, didn't ask questions. He just told me to feel better and hung up. Jennifer didn't call. I spent the day moving through the house like a ghost, picking things up and putting them down without purpose. Around noon, I made a sandwich I didn't eat. At 2, I found myself in her closet, looking at the empty hangers where some of her clothes had been. Not all of them. Just enough for a few days. How much space did she need? A week? A month? Forever? My phone rang at 4:30. Unknown number. Mr. Peterson? This is Detective Walsh with the Portland Police. My stomach dropped. Is Jennifer okay? Is she hurt? Your wife is fine, sir. I'm calling about a different matter. We picked up a young man this morning trying to break into a house on Alameda Street. He had your wife's credit card on him. I sat down hard on the bed. What? The card was reported stolen from a vehicle last night in the parking lot at Powell's Books downtown. The suspect claims someone sold it to him, but we're trying to verify. Is your wife available to confirm when and where the card was taken? She's not here right now. Can you have her call me when she returns? We need to file a proper report. I took down his number and promised Jennifer would call. Then I sat there holding my phone, trying to make sense of it. Jennifer had been at Powell's last night. She loved that bookstore, spent hours there sometimes, but she'd told me she was working late at the clinic where she'd been a nurse practitioner for 15 years. I pulled up our bank account on my phone. No charges at Powell's yesterday. But there was a charge at a Shell station on 82nd Avenue at 9:15 p.m., and another at a Safeway on Glissane at 9:47. I knew every Safeway in Portland. The one on Glissane was 3 blocks from where Dennis Harper lived. Dennis. Her ex-boyfriend from before we met. The one she'd dated for 2 years in her 20s. the one she still mentioned sometimes with a wistful tone that always made my jaw tighten. I'd met him once at a charity event 5 years ago. Tall, tan, still had all his hair. Owned a successful contracting business. Divorced. No kids. I opened Facebook on my laptop, something I rarely did, and searched for Dennis Harper. His profile was semi-private, but I could see his recent posts. Lots of photos of hiking trips and restaurant meals and a new truck. And there, posted 6 weeks ago. Sometimes old friends are the best friends. Jennifer had liked the post. I scrolled back further. She'd liked a lot of his posts, comments here and there, nothing inappropriate, nothing obvious, just present, engaged, interested. My hands were shaking when I opened the Find My app on my phone. We'd set up location sharing years ago when Emma first started driving, a safety thing, a way to know everyone was okay. I'd never used it to check on Jennifer before, never had a reason to. Her location showed an address on Alameda Street. I pulled up Google Maps and typed it in. A nice house in a nice neighborhood, probably worth $700,000. The street view showed a craftsman-style place with a red door and a well-maintained yard. I cross-referenced the address with my laptop. Dennis Harper, owner. The space she needed was at her ex-boyfriend's house. I sat there for a long time, watching the rain run down the window. Something inside me was changing, hardening like concrete setting in the cold. 22 years of marriage, 2 kids, a life built together, and she needed space at Dennis Harper's house. The rage came later, around midnight, after I'd spent hours sitting in the dark, not the hot, explosive kind, the cold, calculating kind that makes you do things you never thought you'd do. I made a list. Thursday morning I called a locksmith. Professional guy arrived at 9 sharp in a white van. I told him my wife had lost her keys and I wanted to upgrade the locks anyway. He changed the front door, back door, and garage door. $340. I paid cash. Then I called Emma. "Hey, Dad, what's up? Is your mother with you?" A pause. "No, why would she be? She told you she was staying with a friend?" Another pause, longer this time. "Dad, what's going on?" "Your mother and I are having some problems. I don't want you to worry. I just need to know if she's contacted you. She texted yesterday and said she needed some time to herself. She said you two were working through some things. Dad, are you okay?" I wasn't okay. Not even close. But I told Emma I was fine, told her to focus on her finals, told her I'd keep her updated. After we hung up, I sat with my phone in my hand, looking at it like it was a foreign object. Jennifer had told Emma we were working through things, past tense, like it was a mutual decision, like I'd agreed to any of this. My buddy Richard worked at a dealership across town. I called him around 10. "Rich, I need to sell Jennifer's Lexus." "Everything okay, man?" "I'm consolidating vehicles. Can you help me out?" "Sure. Bring it by. I'll give you a fair trade-in value." "I need cash, not trade-in, and I need it done today." He was quiet for a second. "That's unusual, but I can probably work something out. The title in your name?" "Both our names, jointly. Oregon was a joint property state. Anything acquired during marriage belonged to both parties equally. I had every legal right to sell that car. I'll be there in an hour." The Lexus was 4 years old with 58,000 miles. Kelly Blue Book put it at 31,000. Richard offered me 28, cash, no questions. I took it. By noon, I had a cashier's check in my pocket and no car in the driveway for Jennifer to come home to. I spent Thursday afternoon calling lawyers. Found one who'd take a consultation on short notice, a sharp woman named Patricia Moore, who had an office downtown. I drove there in my truck, parked in a garage that cost $12 for an hour, and sat across from her while rain pelted the windows. "I want to know my options," I told her. Patricia was maybe 50, gray hair in a tight bun, glasses that made her look stern. "Options for what, specifically?" "My wife left. She's staying with another man. I want to protect myself." "Has she filed for divorce?" "Not yet." "Have you?" "Not yet." She leaned back in her chair. Oregon is a no-fault divorce state. Affairs don't really factor into the legal proceedings unless there's financial misconduct involved. What assets are we talking about? I laid it out for her. The house, worth about $520 with $180,000 still on the mortgage. My 401k, about $400,000. Her 401k, maybe $70,000. Joint savings, $53,000. Cars, paid off. Her Lexus that I'd just sold. My truck. And she hasn't taken any money out of your accounts? Not yet. Patricia made notes on a yellow legal pad. My advice? Protect your assets now. Open a separate account and move half of everything into it. She has the same legal right to that money as you do, but if you move first, you maintain control. Don't hide it, don't spend it, just separate it. Is that legal? Perfectly. You're entitled to half of all marital assets. So is she. The question is who manages them until the divorce is finalized. I wrote her a check for $500 as a retainer and left with a folder full of documents and a head full of strategies. Friday morning, Jennifer finally called. David, we need to talk. Her voice was calm, measured, like she was dealing with a difficult patient at work. It made my pulse spike. Where are you? I asked. That doesn't matter. I've had some time to think, and I believe we need to seriously consider our future. Our future? Right. The one where you're living with Dennis Harper? Silence. Then, how did you know that? Your location sharing, remember? The thing we set up for Emma? You've been tracking me? I've been trying to figure out where my wife went. Turns out she went to her ex-boyfriend's house, to think about our marriage. Her voice got defensive. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. Dennis and I are old friends. I needed someone to talk to, someone who isn't emotionally involved. His guest room. I don't care which room you're sleeping in, Jennifer. Another silence. I want to come by the house tomorrow to get some more clothes. Your keys won't work. What? I changed the locks. Security upgrade. David, you can't keep me out of my own house. I'm not keeping you out. I'm just making sure the house is secure while you're staying with your old friend Dennis. Come by tomorrow at noon. I'll let you in. She hung up on me. I spent Friday night going through our financial records, printing everything out, making copies. 22 years of tax returns, bank statements, credit card bills. I found things I'd forgotten about. A joint investment account with $18,000 in it, a small pension Jennifer had from a previous job worth maybe $12,000. I documented everything. Around midnight, I started going through her emails. We'd always had each other's passwords. Nothing to hide, we used to say. I opened her Gmail and started scrolling. Most of it was junk, medical stuff from work, subscription newsletters. But then I found a folder labeled Personal that I'd never noticed before. Emails from Dennis going back 3 months. I started reading. March 15th. Great seeing you at lunch yesterday. Felt like old times. March 22nd. Thinking about what you said about feeling stuck. I get it. Sometimes we make choices when we're young that don't fit who we become. April 3rd. Dinner was amazing. I'd forgotten how easy it is to talk to you. April 17th. I know this is complicated, but I can't stop thinking about you. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the mouse. May 2nd. I'm here whenever you need me. Whatever you decide, I support you. May 20th. Last night meant everything to me. I closed the laptop, sat in the dark, tried to breathe. 22 years. Saturday morning I got up early and cleaned the house, vacuumed, dusted, scrubbed the bathrooms, made the place spotless. I didn't know why I was doing it. Maybe I wanted Jennifer to see what she was throwing away. Maybe I just needed something to do with my hands. At 11:45, I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table waiting. She pulled up at noon in a car I didn't recognize. A Honda Accord, newer model. Dennis's car, probably. She walked up to the front door and knocked. I let her wait a full minute before I opened it. She looked the same. 46 years old, still beautiful, hair pulled back in a ponytail like she wore it on weekends, jeans and a sweater I'd bought her for Christmas. She had a suitcase with her. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside. She walked past me into the house, looking around like she was visiting a museum. "It looks nice." "Thanks." "David, I know you're angry." "I'm not angry." It was true. The anger had burned itself out sometime around 3 a.m. Now I just felt empty. "Can we sit down and talk about this like adults?" We sat at the kitchen table. She folded her hands in front of her, the way she did when she was trying to appear reasonable. "I want you to understand something," she said. "This isn't about Dennis." "Then what's it about?" "It's about us, about how we've grown apart, about how I feel invisible in this marriage." I almost laughed. "You feel invisible. You're always working or watching TV or doing something else. When was the last time we had a real conversation?" "Tuesday night, when you texted me that you needed space." She closed her eyes. "I'm trying to be honest with you." "Then be honest. How long have you been seeing Dennis?" "I'm not seeing him." "Jennifer." She looked at me and something in her expression shifted. 3 months. We ran into each other at the grocery store and started talking. It was innocent at first. At first. We're not sleeping together if that's what you're asking. I pulled out my phone and opened her emails, turned it so she could see. Watched her face go pale. "You read my private emails?" "I read my wife's emails to her boyfriend." "Yeah. Those are out of context." "Then give me the context." She stood up fast, chair scraping on the floor. "I don't have to explain myself to you. I came here to get my things. Be my guest." She went upstairs. I heard her moving around in the bedroom, opening drawers, closing them. She came down 20 minutes later with her suitcase packed. "Where's my car?" she asked. "Sold it." Her mouth opened. "You what?" "Sold your Lexus. Got $28,000 for it. The money's in a separate account. You'll get half in the divorce." "You can't do that. That's my car." "Actually, it's our car, joint property. I can do whatever I want with it. Same as you can do whatever you want with half our savings." She stared at me. "What are you talking about?" "I moved half of everything into a separate account. My lawyer advised it. You can access your half anytime you want. I'll give you the details." "David, that's insane." "Is it? More insane than moving in with your ex-boyfriend while you're still married?" "I needed time to think. And I needed to protect myself. Turns out we both got what we needed." She grabbed her suitcase and headed for the door, stopped with her hand on the knob. "I'll have my lawyer contact you. Looking forward to it." She left. I watched through the window as she loaded her suitcase into Dennis's Honda and drove away. Then I went upstairs and stripped the sheets off our bed. The house echoed differently after Jennifer left the second time. Sound moved through it in ways I'd never noticed before, bouncing off walls and hardwood floors without furniture or bodies to absorb it. I found myself walking softer, closing doors quieter, like I was trying not to disturb something that wasn't there. Sunday morning, I drove to Emma's apartment in Corvallis, 2 hours down I-5 in rain that never let up. She was waiting when I pulled up, standing under the awning of her apartment complex with 2 cups of coffee. "You didn't have to drive all the way down here," she said, handing me one through the truck window. "Wanted to see you in person." We sat in a coffee shop near campus, the kind of place with mismatched furniture and local art on the walls. Emma had my eyes, but Jennifer's features, delicate and sharp at the same time. She'd always been the serious one, the planner, the kid who made spreadsheets for fun. "Tell me what's really going on," she said. I told her. Not everything, but enough. The texts, the space, the moving out. I left out Dennis's name, left out the emails, left out the part where I'd sold her mother's car. Some things kids don't need to know about their parents. "So you're getting divorced," Emma said when I finished. "Looks that way." "How do you feel about it?" I almost laughed. How do I feel? I feel like I wasted 22 years building something that didn't matter. It mattered, Dad. It mattered to me and Tyler. It mattered to you and Mom once. Maybe. She reached across the table and took my hand. Don't do anything stupid, okay? Don't let this make you into someone you're not. I promised her I wouldn't, even though I wasn't sure it was a promise I could keep. Monday morning, I went back to work. Showed up at the engineering firm like nothing had changed, sat at my desk, reviewed blueprints for a hospital addition we were designing. My co-worker Mike asked how I was feeling and I told him I was fine. The lie came easy, but the concentration didn't. I found myself staring at the same line on the same drawing for 20 minutes, not processing anything. The numbers and measurements blurred together. Around 11 I gave up and went to the break room for coffee. Paul found me there, leaning against the counter. You okay, David? Yeah, just tired. He studied me with the careful look of someone who'd known me for almost 2 decades. If you need some time off, we can work something out. I'm fine. But I wasn't fine, and we both knew it. That afternoon, Jennifer's lawyer called. A guy named Bradley Stone with a voice like he gargled gravel. Mr. Peterson, I represent Jennifer Peterson in the dissolution of your marriage. I'd like to schedule a mediation session to discuss asset division. Already have a lawyer, I said. Patricia Moore. Have your office contact hers. We'd prefer to handle this amicably without getting the courts involved. So would I. That's why I hired a lawyer. He wasn't happy about it, but agreed to contact Patricia. I hung up feeling something that wasn't quite satisfaction, but close enough. The next few weeks developed a rhythm. Wake up, shower, go to work, come home, microwave something for dinner, sit in front of the TV without watching it, go to bed, repeat. The house stayed clean because I barely touched anything. I did laundry once a week, just my own clothes now, and the washer seemed too empty. Jennifer texted occasionally, short messages asking about bills or mail or some item she'd left behind. I responded with facts, no emotion. Bills paid. Mail's on the counter. It's in the garage. Tyler called from Seattle one Wednesday night. Mom says you're being difficult. Mom's staying with her ex-boyfriend. I'm protecting my assets. That's not difficult. That's smart. She says you sold her car without asking. It was half my car. I can sell my half. Tyler was quiet for a long moment. This isn't like you, Dad. Maybe this is exactly like me and nobody noticed before. After we hung up, I wondered if he was right. Maybe I was becoming someone different. Or maybe I'd always been this person underneath, just never had a reason to show it. Patricia called me into her office in mid-June. We sat across from each other while she laid out papers on her desk. Jennifer's lawyer is pushing for a 60-40 split, she said. 60 for her. On what grounds? She's claiming you make substantially more than she does, that she sacrificed career opportunities to support your career, and that she deserves compensation for that. I did make more, about $90,000 a year to her 65. But sacrifice? We'd both worked the whole marriage, both contributed. Tell them no, I said. They're also asking for spousal support, $1,500 a month. For how long? Indefinitely. I stood up and walked to her window, looked down at the street below, cars moving through rain, people walking with umbrellas, everyone going somewhere. She left me, I said. She moved in with another man, and now she wants me to pay her for the privilege? Oregon is a no-fault state, Patricia reminded me. Affairs don't factor into... I know what Oregon is. Tell them no on the spousal support too. David, I have to advise you that fighting this could cost more in legal fees than just agreeing to a settlement. I don't care what it costs, she made a note. Then we'll counter with 50-50 on everything and no spousal support. Good. I left her office feeling the cold anger again, the kind that sits in your chest like a stone. One Saturday in late June, I decided to tackle Jennifer's stuff. The things she hadn't taken, the things still scattered around the house like landmines. I started in the bedroom. Her jewelry box sat on the dresser. I opened it, looked at the necklaces and earrings and rings inside. Some of them I'd given her. Anniversaries, birthdays, Christmas. That sapphire necklace from our 15th. Those pearl earrings from when Emma was born. I left them there and moved to the closet. Her clothes still hung on her side, though there were gaps now where she'd taken things. I pulled them out one by one, folded them, packed them into boxes, found old dresses she hadn't worn in years, shoes with dust on them, purses stuffed in the back. In one purse I found a receipt from a restaurant in Lake Oswego, dated April 23rd, dinner for $267. I'd been in Seattle that week for a conference. I put the receipt in a folder with the emails. By evening, I had 6 boxes packed. Called Jennifer and told her to come get them. "Can you just drop them off?" she asked. "No. You want them, you come get them." She showed up Sunday afternoon. Dennis was with her. He got out of the driver's side and I got my first good look at him in years. Still tall, still had the hair. Wearing expensive jeans and a polo shirt that probably cost more than my work pants. He smiled when he saw me, the kind of smile that says he's trying to be friendly, even though we both know better. "David," he said, extending his hand. I looked at his hand, then at him. Didn't move. He lowered it slowly. "Right." Jennifer got out of the passenger side. "The boxes are in the garage," I told her. We loaded them into Dennis's trunk without talking. He tried to help, but I told him I had it. Jennifer kept glancing at me like she wanted to say something, but couldn't figure out what. When the last box was in, Dennis closed the trunk. "Look, man, I want you to know this wasn't something we planned. It just happened." "Things don't just happen," I said. "People make choices." "Sure, but you're taking my wife. That's your choice. But don't stand here and tell me it just happened like you tripped and fell into an affair." His jaw tightened. "We're not having an affair." "Then what are you having?" Jennifer stepped between us. "David, please." "Please what? Be nice? Be understanding? Your boyfriend here wants to pretend like this is all some accident. I'm just setting him straight." "He's not my boyfriend." "Then what is he?" She didn't answer. Dennis put his hand on her shoulder. Small gesture, possessive. "We should go." They got in the car and left. I watched them drive away, then went inside and poured myself a whiskey, even though it was 3 in the afternoon. July came with heat that broke the rain. Portland in summer is beautiful when it's not burning, and that year it wasn't burning. Blue skies, warm days, people out on patios and parks. I went to work, came home, existed. Patricia called me on a Thursday. They've accepted the 50-50 split, but they're still pushing for spousal support. $800 a month for 3 years. "No, David, that's actually a reasonable offer given the length of your marriage. I'm not paying her to leave me." "You're not. You're fulfilling your legal obligation to—" "No." She sighed. "Okay. We'll counter with 0 and see what happens." What happened was more lawyers, more mediations, more sitting in conference rooms while people argued about numbers. Jennifer's lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive. My lawyer argued I was protecting myself. The mediator, a tired woman named Helen something, just wanted us to agree on anything so she could move on to the next case. In August, Tyler came down from Seattle. We met at a barbecue place on Hawthorne, sat outside under an umbrella while he worked through a plate of ribs. "Mom's worried about you," he said. "Mom can stop worrying anytime she wants. She says you're being unreasonable about the settlement. She's the one asking for money after she left. That seems pretty unreasonable to me." Tyler wiped sauce off his fingers with a napkin. "I'm not taking sides here." "Sounds like you already did." "Dad, come on, I'm trying to help." "You want to help? Tell your mother to stop dragging this out and sign the papers." He pushed his plate away, half the food still on it. "She's still my mom. And I'm still your dad. But I'm the one getting blamed for this whole thing, even though I'm not the one who left." We finished lunch in silence. Before he drove back to Seattle, he hugged me in the parking lot, held on longer than usual. "Don't let this make you bitter," he said. Too late, I thought, but didn't say. September came with rain again. Oregon doesn't do seasons like other places, just variations of gray. I started running in the mornings before work, 5 miles through the neighborhood while it was still dark. My body hurt, but my mind went quiet, and that was worth something. The mediation finally broke down in October. Helen, the mediator, declared us at an impasse and recommended we go to trial. Neither lawyer was happy about it, but neither of us was willing to bend. "This is going to cost you," Patricia warned. "A trial means more billable hours, more discovery, more everything." "I don't care." "Yes, you do. You're just too angry to admit it." Maybe she was right. But I'd come too far to back down now. The trial was scheduled for January. That gave us 3 months to gather evidence, prepare testimony, do all the things lawyers do when they're billing $400 an hour. I spent Thanksgiving alone. Emma invited me to Corvallis, but I told her I was working. Tyler invited me to Seattle, but I told him the same thing. The truth was, I didn't want to be around people who felt sorry for me. I bought a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store and ate it in front of the TV while football games I didn't care about played in the background. My phone rang around 8. Unknown number. "David? It's Richard. My buddy from the dealership. We hadn't talked since I sold the Lexus." "Hey man, what's up? You still going through that divorce?" "Yeah. Why?" "I've got something you might want to see. Can you stop by tomorrow?" I met him at the dealership at 9 on Friday morning. He was in his office, a small room with windows overlooking the showroom floor. He had a file folder on his desk. "What's this about?" I asked. He pushed the folder across to me. "You remember when you sold Jennifer's Lexus? I had to process the paperwork, run the title, all that." "Yeah." "Well, I also pulled the service records. Routine thing we do. And I found something interesting." I opened the folder. Service records from the Lexus dealership across town, the one where Jennifer always took her car. Oil changes, tire rotations, regular stuff. But there were also records from a different location, a dealership in Beaverton, across the river. "Look at the dates," Richard said. I looked. Service appointments in March, April, May, all on weekdays, all around lunchtime. The address on the service orders was Dennis Harper's address. "She was taking the car to his house," I said slowly. "Looks that way. And getting it serviced at the closest dealership to him while she waited." I stared at the papers. Evidence, proof, documentation that the affair had been going on longer than she'd admitted. "Can I keep these?" I asked. "That's your copy. Figured you might need it." I bought Richard lunch and added the service records to my folder of evidence. December came cold and dark. Christmas lights went up around the neighborhood, but I didn't bother. The house stayed dark while the neighbors celebrated. Patricia called 2 days before Christmas. "Jennifer's lawyer wants to talk settlement one more time before trial." "What are they offering?" 50-50 split, $500 a month spousal support for 2 years. I thought about it. About the trial, about the cost, about months more of this dragging on. About seeing Jennifer in court, listening to her lawyer paint me as the bad guy. "Tell them to make it $300 a month for 1 year and we have a deal. They'll probably accept that. Can I ask why you're willing to negotiate now?" "Because I'm tired. And because I have the service records showing she was lying about when the affair started. If they want to avoid that coming out in court, they'll take the deal." They took the deal. We signed the papers on January 8th at Patricia's office. Jennifer came with her lawyer. We sat at opposite ends of a conference table and signed our names on forms that ended 22 years of marriage. She tried to talk to me afterward, in the parking lot. "David, I want you to know—" "Don't," I said. "We're done. That's all that matters." I got in my truck and drove away, watched her get smaller in my rearview mirror until she disappeared completely. The divorce was final, but life wasn't. That's the thing nobody tells you about endings. They don't feel like endings at all, just pauses in something that keeps going whether you're ready or not. I moved through February like I was underwater. Work, home, sleep. The house echoed less now because I'd sold some furniture, boxed up pictures, stripped away the evidence of the life we'd had. The place looked almost sterile, like a model home waiting for someone to move in. Emma came to visit in March. She walked through the house taking inventory, noticing what was missing. "You got rid of everything," she said. "Not everything. Just the things that reminded me of stuff I don't want to remember." "That's pretty much everything, Dad." We ordered pizza and ate it at the kitchen table, the same table where Jennifer and I had signed the divorce papers 2 months earlier. Emma told me about school, about a guy she was seeing, about her plans for summer. I listened and nodded and tried to be present. "You're somewhere else," she said. "I'm right here." "No, you're not. You haven't been here for months." She wasn't wrong. Some part of me had detached the night Jennifer sent that first text, had floated away and never came back. I was functional but not whole, going through motions without feeling them. "I'm dealing with it," I told her. "By turning into a robot? Better than falling apart." She reached across the table and took my hand, just like she had in Corvallis almost a year ago. "It's okay to fall apart sometimes. That's how people heal." But I didn't want to fall apart. Falling apart meant feeling everything I'd been pushing down for months, and I wasn't ready for that. Might never be ready. April brought sun and warmth and people acting like winter had never happened. I kept running in the mornings, pushing myself harder now, 7 miles instead of 5. The pain felt good, felt real, felt like something I could control. Patricia called me on a Tuesday afternoon. "Jennifer's filing a motion to modify the spousal support agreement." "She can't do that. We signed papers." "She's claiming financial hardship, lost her job at the clinic, having trouble finding new work." "That's not my problem." "Actually, it might be. If the judge agrees she's experiencing legitimate hardship, they can modify the agreement." "She's living with Dennis Harper. Let him support her." "That's not how it works." We went back to court in May. Another hearing, another judge, another round of lawyers arguing about money. Jennifer sat across the courtroom looking tired and older than I remembered. She testified about losing her job, about how difficult it was to find work as a nurse practitioner in Portland's saturated market, about how the $300 a month I was paying wasn't enough. My lawyer countered with evidence that Jennifer was living rent-free with Dennis, that she had minimal expenses, that she was capable of working but choosing to be selective about employment. The judge, a gray-haired woman with reading glasses on a chain, listened to both sides and ruled against Jennifer. The support agreement stood as written. Outside the courthouse, I saw Jennifer talking to Dennis by his car. She was crying, and he had his arm around her. I felt something watching them, but it wasn't satisfaction. It wasn't anything really. Just empty observation. Tyler got married in June. Small ceremony in Seattle, just family and close friends. Jennifer was there with Dennis, sitting on the bride's side. I sat on the groom's side alone. During the reception, Tyler pulled me aside. "Thanks for coming, Dad. Wouldn't miss it. I know this is weird, Mom being here with him. It's fine. This is your day, not mine." But it wasn't fine, not really. I watched them dance during the slow songs, watched Dennis whisper something in Jennifer's ear that made her laugh, watched her look happy in a way she hadn't looked with me in years. Emma found me at the bar. "You okay?" Getting real tired of people asking me that. "Then stop looking like you're not." Fair point. I left the reception early, drove back to Portland in the dark, got home around midnight to an empty house that felt emptier than usual. My phone buzzed as I was getting ready for bed. Text from an unknown number. "This is Dennis. Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, "No." Another message came through. "Please, it's important." Nothing you have to say is important to me. It's about Jennifer. I turned off my phone without responding, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering what Dennis wanted to talk about. Probably wanted to justify things, explain how it all happened, ask for some kind of forgiveness or understanding. People always wanted you to understand why they hurt you, like understanding made it okay. I turned my phone back on and called him. Hello? He sounded surprised. You've got 5 minutes. Okay, thanks. Look, I know this is awkward. 4 minutes, 50 seconds. He cleared his throat. Jennifer's not doing well. That's not my problem anymore. I know, but I thought you should know. She's been depressed, anxious. She's seeing a therapist, but it's not helping much. She lost her job because she couldn't focus, kept making mistakes. Small stuff, but enough that they let her go. Why are you telling me this? Because she needs help. Professional help, maybe medication, and her insurance lapsed when you removed her from your policy. That was part of the divorce agreement. She's supposed to get her own coverage. She can't afford it right now, and she's too proud to ask you for help. So you're asking for her? Yeah. I sat on the edge of my bed in the dark. Let me get this straight. You took my wife. You convinced her to leave a 22-year marriage, and now you want me to pay for her therapy because she's sad about it? It's not like that. Then what's it like? Silence on the other end. Forget it. This was a mistake. You're right about that. I hung up and turned the phone off again. But sleep didn't come. I lay there thinking about Jennifer being depressed, about her making mistakes at work, about her life falling apart in slow motion. Some part of me wanted to feel satisfied, wanted to feel like justice was happening. But mostly I just felt tired. July was hot. Record-breaking heat, the kind that makes Portland panic because nobody has air conditioning. I bought a window unit for the bedroom and spent evenings lying directly under it, trying not to move. Emma called one night, voice urgent. Dad, have you talked to Mom lately? Not since Tyler's wedding. She's not answering my calls. I'm worried. Call Dennis. I did. He said she's fine, but he sounded weird about it. Emma, I can't. Please, just check on her. For me. I wanted to say no. Wanted to tell Emma that Jennifer wasn't my responsibility anymore, that she'd made her choices and would have to live with them. But Emma's voice had that edge to it, the one that said she was genuinely scared. I'll call her, I said. I tried Jennifer's number. It rang 6 times and went to voicemail. I tried again an hour later. Same thing. Around 10 p.m. I drove to Dennis's house. The craftsman with the red door looked the same as it had in the Google Maps photo almost a year ago. Lights were on inside. Dennis's Honda was in the driveway. I knocked, waited, knocked again. Dennis opened the door, looking tired. David, what are you doing here? Emma's worried about Jennifer. Is she here? She's sleeping. At 10 p.m.? She's been sleeping a lot lately. I want to see her. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't care what you think. Her daughter's worried. I'm worried. I want to see her. He hesitated, then stepped aside. The house was nice inside. Hardwood floors, exposed beams, expensive furniture. Photos on the walls of Dennis hiking and fishing and doing all the things successful contractors do in their free time. Jennifer was on the couch in the living room, wrapped in a blanket, even though it was 80 degrees outside. She looked up when I walked in, and her eyes were hollow. David. Hey. She sat up slowly, like it took effort. What are you doing here? Emma couldn't reach you. She was worried. I'm fine. But she clearly wasn't. Her hair needed washing. She had dark circles under her eyes. Her hands shook slightly when she pulled the blanket tighter around herself. I sat in a chair across from her. Dennis says you're seeing a therapist. He shouldn't have told you that. He also says you need help with insurance for treatment. I don't need your help. Jennifer, you look terrible. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Thanks. That's not what I meant. I mean, you look sick. When's the last time you ate? I don't know. This morning, maybe. Dennis stood in the doorway, looking uncomfortable. I've been trying to get her to eat, but she won't. I stood up. Where's your kitchen? David, you don't have to. Just show me the kitchen. He led me to a kitchen that was cleaner than mine, but not by much. I opened the fridge and found eggs, cheese, bread, started making scrambled eggs while Dennis watched. How long has she been like this? I asked. Few weeks. It's been getting worse. She needs real help, not just therapy. I know. But she won't go to a doctor, says she can't afford it. I put eggs and toast on a plate, brought it to Jennifer. Eat. I'm not hungry. I don't care. Eat anyway. She picked at the eggs with a fork, took a small bite, then another. Dennis and I watched like we were observing a medical procedure. I'm going to call Patricia, I said. See if we can modify the divorce agreement to keep you on my insurance temporarily. Jennifer looked up. Why would you do that? Because Emma's scared, and you need help. After everything I did to you. Yeah, after everything. She started crying. Not dramatic sobbing, just quiet tears running down her face while she ate scrambled eggs in her ex-boyfriend's living room. I left after she finished eating, told Dennis to make sure she saw a doctor, drove home feeling something I couldn't quite name. Not forgiveness, maybe just exhaustion. Patricia wasn't happy about the insurance modification, but she filed the paperwork. The judge approved it on the condition that Jennifer actively pursue treatment and provide documentation. She did. Started on medication, kept seeing her therapist, slowly started to look more like a human being. August came and went. September rolled in with cooling temperatures and the promise of rain. I was running one morning when I saw Jennifer on the sidewalk ahead of me. She was walking, hands in her jacket pockets, looking at the ground. I slowed as I approached her. Hey! She looked up, surprised. David, I didn't know you ran this route. Every morning. We stood there in the gray pre-dawn light, former spouses who'd run out of things to say to each other months ago. I'm doing better, she said, in case you were wondering. Good. The medication helps, and the therapy. That's good. Silence stretched between us. I'm sorry, she finally said, for all of it, for how things ended, for being so selfish. Okay. I don't expect you to forgive me. Good. She smiled a little. You're different now. Harder. Yeah. I'm sorry about that too. I started running again, left her standing on the sidewalk. Didn't look back. October came with rain that didn't stop. The kind of Oregon rain that makes you forget what the sun looks like. I settled into a routine that felt sustainable. Work was good, projects were interesting. I was up for a promotion, heading a new team, designing a convention center expansion. Emma graduated early in December, finished her degree a semester ahead of schedule. We celebrated at a nice restaurant in Corvallis, just the two of us. She was moving to Portland in January, had a job lined up at an accounting firm. I'm proud of you, I told her. Thanks, Dad. I'm proud of you, too. For what? For surviving. For not letting what happened destroy you. It destroyed plenty, but not you. Not the important parts. I wasn't sure she was right, but I appreciated the sentiment. Tyler and his wife announced they were having a baby in February. I'd be a grandfather by fall. The news hit different than I expected, made me think about legacy and what I was leaving behind. Jennifer sent me a text when she heard. Can't believe we're going to be grandparents. You're going to be a grandparent, I replied. I'm going to be a grandfather. No response. Christmas came and I put up a tree for the first time since the divorce. Just a small one with lights, no ornaments. Emma came over and we watched old movies and ordered Chinese food. It felt almost normal, almost okay. My phone rang around 11. Jennifer. Merry Christmas, she said. Sounded like she'd been drinking. Merry Christmas. Are you alone? Emma's here. That's good. Being alone on Christmas is terrible. I could hear music in the background, voices. Are you at a party? Dennis's company thing, it's awful. Everyone's married and I'm just, here. You should probably go. Probably. But she didn't hang up. Do you ever think about us? About how things were before everything got complicated? No. Liar. Maybe she was right. Maybe I did think about it sometimes, late at night when I couldn't sleep. Thought about the good parts, the early years when everything felt possible. But thinking about it didn't change anything. You should go back to your party, I said. Yeah. She hung up. January brought a new year, and with it a strange sense of possibility. Like maybe I could start over, build something new on the wreckage of what had been. I started dating in February. Nothing serious, just coffee dates with women I met on apps. It felt weird at first, alien, like I was pretending to be someone I wasn't. But slowly, it got easier. Emma met someone I'd been seeing for a few weeks. Her name was Laura. She worked in graphic design. She had a good laugh. We all had dinner together, and afterward Emma approved. She's nice, Dad. Yeah. You seem happy. I seem happy? Yeah. Like maybe you're starting to heal. Maybe I was. Hard to tell from the inside. March brought news that Jennifer and Dennis had broken up. Emma told me over lunch, watching my face for a reaction. How do you feel about that? She asked. I don't. Not even a little satisfied? Not even a little. It was true. Whatever I'd felt for Jennifer, love, anger, hurt, had burned itself out over the past year and a half. She was just someone I used to know now, someone who'd shared part of my life, but didn't anymore. She's moving out next month, Emma continued, getting an apartment near her new job. Good for her. She asked if you'd be willing to talk to her. About what? I don't know. She just said she'd like to clear the air. The air's already clear. Emma sighed. Dad, I know she hurt you, but she's still my mom, and Tyler's mom, and soon she'll be our baby's grandma. It would be nice if you two could at least be civil. I am civil. I just don't want to have coffee and talk about our feelings. Fair enough. But the request bothered me. Sat in the back of my mind while I went about my life. What did Jennifer want to talk about? What air needed clearing? We'd said everything that needed saying, signed all the papers, split everything down the middle. I finally texted her in April. Emma says you want to talk. I do, but only if you're willing. Coffee next week? That would be great. We met at a place downtown on a Wednesday afternoon. She got there first, was sitting at a corner table with 2 cups of coffee waiting. She'd cut her hair short, dyed it darker. Looked good on her. Thanks for coming, she said as I sat down. Sure. We sipped coffee in silence for a minute. Finally, she spoke. I wanted to apologize. Really apologize, not just say the words. Okay. What I did to you was cruel. Moving in with Dennis while we were still married, dragging out the divorce, all of it. I was selfish and scared and I hurt you. Yes, you did. I can't take it back. But I want you to know I regret it. All of it. I looked at her across the table, this woman I'd spent half my life with. Why did you do it? I don't know. I felt trapped, like my life was over, and I'd never done anything just for me. And then I ran into Dennis, and he reminded me of being young, of having possibilities. It was stupid. It was. I know you'll probably never forgive me, but I wanted you to know I'm sorry, and that even though we didn't work out, I'm grateful for the years we had, for our kids, for the life we built together. Me too. We talked for an hour, about Emma and Tyler, about the baby coming in fall, about work and life and all the mundane things that used to make up our days. It wasn't healing exactly, but it was something. Closure, maybe. As we were leaving, she touched my arm. Are you happy? Getting there. Good. You deserve to be happy. So do you. We hugged in the parking lot, brief and awkward. Then she got in her car and drove away. I watched her go, feeling something shift inside me. Not forgiveness, not really. Just acceptance that it was over, and that was okay. I drove home thinking about the space Jennifer had said she needed. How it had turned into this vast emptiness that swallowed 22 years and 2 kids and countless memories. How I'd filled that space with anger and revenge and cold calculation. But now the space felt different, less empty, more like potential. Like maybe Jennifer had been right about needing space after all. She just hadn't realized we'd both need it. Space from each other, space from who we'd been together, space to become who we'd be apart. I pulled into my driveway and sat in the truck for a moment, looking at the house that was finally starting to feel like mine instead of ours. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. In the distance, I could hear kids playing, dogs barking, life happening. I got out of the truck and went inside. The house was quiet but not empty. My running shoes by the door, my coffee cup in the sink, my book on the table. Small things that added up to a life. I made dinner, turned on the TV, settled into my evening routine. Laura was coming over tomorrow. Emma wanted me to help her paint her new apartment this weekend. Tyler had sent photos of the nursery they were setting up. Life kept going. That was the thing nobody told you about endings. They weren't really endings at all, just transitions to whatever came next. And whatever came next, I'd be ready for it. The call came on a Thursday in May, 3 weeks after my coffee with Jennifer. Mr. Peterson, this is Detective Walsh. We spoke about a year ago regarding a stolen credit card. I remembered. The card taken from Jennifer's purse at Powell's, the night this whole thing started unraveling. I remember. We've made an arrest in a larger fraud case and your wife's card came up in the investigation. Turns out it was part of a scheme involving an employee at the parking garage near the bookstore. We'll need you or Mrs. Peterson to come in and provide a statement. We're divorced now. You'll need to contact her directly. Understood. But there's something else. During the investigation, we pulled security footage from various locations. Your wife's vehicle appears multiple times at a residence on Alameda Street between March and May of last year. The homeowner filed a complaint about harassment from a different party, and your wife's car was documented in those reports. My chest tightened. Why are you telling me this? Because the timestamps on that footage might be relevant to your divorce proceedings. If there were questions about when certain relationships began, this could serve as evidence. After we hung up, I sat with my phone in my hand. The divorce was final. The papers were signed. What did it matter now when Jennifer's affair had started? But something nagged at me. I pulled out the folder I'd kept, the one with the emails and restaurant receipts and service records. Added the detective's information to it. Then I called Patricia. The divorce is done, she said when I explained. Unless you're looking to reopen the case, this information doesn't change anything. What if I wanted to reopen it? On what grounds? You'd need to prove fraud or concealment of assets, something substantial. Proving she lied about when the affair started isn't enough. She got spousal support based on claiming financial hardship. For 1 year at $300 a month, you've paid most of it already. Reopening would cost you more in legal fees than you'd recover. She was right, but it still burned. I spent the weekend thinking about it. About justice and revenge and whether there was any difference between them. On Sunday, I drove to Emma's new apartment to help her paint. You're quiet today, she said, rolling cream-colored paint onto her bedroom wall. Just thinking. About Mom? Sort of. Emma set down her roller. Dad, whatever you're thinking about doing, don't. I haven't said anything. You don't have to. I know that look. That's your planning look, the one you get when you're working through a problem. Maybe I have a problem that needs working through. The divorce is done. You're moving on. Laura's great, your job's good, you're finally starting to seem like yourself again. Don't mess it up by going backward. She was right. Of course she was right. But part of me wanted Jennifer to face real consequences, not just depression and a breakup. Part of me wanted her to understand what she'd cost me. I finished painting Emma's bedroom and drove home as the sun was setting. Laura called around 8. Want to grab dinner tomorrow? Can't. Working late on the convention center project. How about Tuesday? Tuesday works. We talked for a while about nothing important, easy conversation that didn't require much from me. After we hung up, I sat on the couch and pulled out the folder again. All the evidence of Jennifer's lies, documented and organized. The emails, the receipts, the service records, now the detective's information about security footage. Proof that she'd been planning this for months before she sent that first text. What would happen if I gave all this to Emma and Tyler? Let them see who their mother really was. The thought appeared fully formed, sharp and cold. I could destroy Jennifer's relationship with our kids, show them the calculated way she'd dismantled our family, make them understand that she wasn't the victim she'd painted herself as. But even as I thought it, I knew I wouldn't do it. Not because Jennifer didn't deserve it, but because Emma and Tyler didn't deserve to carry that weight. They'd already been hurt enough by the divorce. I put the folder away and went to bed. Tuesday night, Laura and I had dinner at an Italian place on Division. She talked about a project at work, some rebranding for a local nonprofit. I listened and nodded and tried to be present. You're somewhere else tonight, she said. Sorry. Work stuff. Is that really what it is? I looked at her across the table. She had kind eyes, the kind that saw things even when you tried to hide them. My ex-wife, I admitted. Something came up and I can't stop thinking about it. Want to talk about it? Not really. She reached across the table and took my hand. I'm not trying to be nosy, but if we're going to keep seeing each other, I need to know you're actually over her. I am over her. Are you? Because it seems like she still takes up a lot of space in your head. I wanted to argue, to insist that Jennifer meant nothing to me now. But Laura was right. Even a year and a half after that first text, Jennifer still occupied territory in my thoughts that should have been empty by now. I don't love her anymore, I said, but I'm still angry. That's fair. She hurt you. But at some point you have to decide if being angry is worth more than being happy. We finished dinner, and I drove her home. She kissed me goodnight on her doorstep, soft and brief. Think about what I said, she told me. I thought about it all week. Thought about it during morning runs and late nights at the office and quiet moments alone in my house. About whether holding on to anger was serving any purpose or just keeping me chained to something that was over. On Friday, I took the folder out one last time, looked through all the evidence I'd gathered, all the proof of Jennifer's betrayal. Then I carried it to the backyard and burned it in the fire pit. The papers caught quickly, edges curling and blackening as flames consumed them, emails and receipts and service records turning to ash. I watched until there was nothing left but smoke and char, then doused the fire and went inside. My phone rang as I was washing the soot off my hands. Jennifer. I know this is weird, but I need a favor. What kind of favor? I'm buying a house, small place in Selwood. The bank needs verification of the spousal support payments for the mortgage application. Can you sign a form? I almost laughed. After everything, she needed my help to buy a house with another man's money. Sure. Email me the form. Really? Just like that? Just like that. Silence on her end. Thank you. You're welcome. I signed the form that night and emailed it back. Then I deleted her contact from my phone. June arrived with warmth and clear skies. Tyler's wife had the baby 2 weeks early, a healthy girl they named Sophie. I drove to Seattle the day after she was born and held my granddaughter in the hospital. This tiny person who had my eyes and Jennifer's chin. Jennifer was there too, of course. We moved around each other politely, taking turns holding Sophie, making small talk about baby things. At one point, we ended up in the hallway together while Tyler and his wife slept. "She's perfect," Jennifer said. "Yeah, I'm glad you're here. It wouldn't be the same without both of us. I'm not here for you. I'm here for them." She nodded. "I know, but still, thank you for being civil about all this." We stood in that hospital hallway, two people who'd created life together twice, watching through the window as our son slept beside his wife and daughter. "I meant what I said at coffee," Jennifer said quietly. "I'm sorry for all of it. I know you are. Do you think you'll ever actually forgive me?" I thought about the folder burning in my backyard, about Laura's question regarding happiness versus anger, about Sophie sleeping in the room behind us. Maybe someday, but not today. That's fair. I went back to Portland that evening, left Jennifer to stay and help Tyler and his wife for a few days, drove home thinking about Sophie, about the future she represented, about building something new instead of dwelling on what had been destroyed. Laura came over that night. We sat on my back deck drinking wine and watching stars appear in the darkening sky. "How was Seattle?" she asked. "Good. My granddaughter is beautiful. And your ex-wife?" "Was there. It was fine." "Just fine?" "Yeah, just fine. She doesn't matter anymore." Laura smiled. "Good, because I'm getting tired of competing with a ghost." "You're not competing with anyone." She set down her wine and moved closer. "Then prove it." I kissed her there on the deck as night settled around us, and for the first time in 18 months, I felt something that wasn't anger or hurt or emptiness. Felt possibility. Felt like maybe I could actually build something new. We stayed on the deck until late, talking about everything and nothing. About her family in California, about my work on the convention center, about a trip we might take in August. Normal things, future things, things that had nothing to do with Jennifer or the past. Around midnight, my phone buzzed with a text from Emma. "Sophie is perfect. You're going to be an amazing grandpa. Love you." I showed it to Laura and she grinned. "See? Life goes on. Life goes on." Simple words, but maybe the most important ones. Laura left around 1, and I went to bed feeling lighter than I had in months. The house was quiet, but it didn't feel empty anymore. Just mine. Just home. I thought about Jennifer in her new house in Selwood, starting over at 47. About Dennis somewhere in Portland, probably nursing his own wounds. About the space Jennifer had said she needed and how much it had cost everyone. But mostly, I thought about Sophie, about the future, about the life still waiting to be lived. About letting go of anger, not because it wasn't justified, but because holding on to it was like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. I fell asleep thinking about tomorrow, about the morning run I'd take, about the coffee I'd make, about the day I'd build from nothing but time and choice, about how endings really were just beginnings if you let them be. The space Jennifer had needed had become the space I'd needed too. Room to breathe, room to change, room to become someone new. She'd destroyed what we had, and I'd spent months making her pay for it. But somewhere in all that destruction and revenge, I'd found something unexpected. I'd found myself, and that was worth more than any punishment I could have given her.